Here's my card. Hello, I am Wade Trello, and today I want to go over how to replace your brakes and overall tire knowledge and what you want to look for when it comes to your tires. Now, I will be starting off with rotating your tires, or a tire rotation. This may not work on your nicer, more higher end cars like a Corvette or a BMW, but on your average vehicle, it should work. Now, what you want to do is you want to jack up your car and you want to take off your wheels, okay? Now, you don't have to take off all your wheels at one time. You don't have to jack up your entire car. You can take off the front two and kind of rotate them slowly but surely. Now, the way that you rotate them is, let's say these are the front two tires and these are the rear two tires. You want to take the front two back and take the rear passenger side and move it up to your front driver's side, and do the same on the other side and take your rear driver's side and move it up to the front passenger side. This will ensure that you have even use of your tread and increase the longevity of your tire. This will not make it so you do not have to replace your tires. You will eventually have to replace your tires, and ensure the tread on it is good. Make sure that the tread on it is fine and works well. And if your tires are starting to bald or you have a nail in your tires, do get them replaced. Now, let's move on to changing your brakes. If you ever hear grinding or squeaking when it comes to your brakes, you may need to change them. Now, to change your brakes, you want to jack up your car. The way that you do that is you roll a floor jack underneath the front portion of your car. Find part of the solid steel body. Do not put your jack underneath something that will be damaged when you do that. There should be a steel frame to your car. You want to put your jack underneath that steel frame. Now, jack up your car. Once your tire is off the ground, take off the lug nuts on your tire and pull off your tire. This is a great time to check if your tire is bald or just the tread on the tire in general. Now, take your tire out of the way. What you're looking at is your rotor and your caliper. Now, the rotor is the discus thing. That is what rotates, and that is what rotates your tire. The caliper is what stops. It holds your brake pads in place. Now, what you want to do is take off your caliper. The way you do that is loosen the back two screws on your caliper. Once you're done loosening them, go ahead and pull off your caliper and rest it down. Now, for this next part, you want to pull off your brake pads very carefully. You don't want to damage the clips that the brake pads are in. That's just going to cost you more money down the road. Now, I want to show you what a bad brake pad looks like. Now, you're going to look here. And this is very flat. It should be out towards here. And this is also another bad brake pad. As you can see, it's metal on metal contact. That can damage your rotors. Very not good. Now, a way to double check, because your brake pads, if they're about 3 millimeters, replace them. If you hear grinding, definitely replace them. That could damage your rotors and cost you more money down the road. Now, here is a good measuring tool to see the overall thickness and if your brake pad is good or not. Now, the way that this tool works is, let me pull it out. The way that this tool works is it measures the thickness and tells you if you're in the green, in the red, if it needs to be replaced, if you're in the yellow. Now, the way that it works is it gives you the thickness of your pad, right? And you measure it up to here. Now, if you look at this, it's below the amount. It's metal on metal. That's dangerous. But if you're in the red, replace it. Yellow, definitely look into replacing it. But if you're up to this level of green, you're perfectly fine. Your brake pads are basically new. Once you start to get lower and when you get into the yellows, start to get worried about your brake pads, and reds, replace them immediately. Okay? Now, you have just taken your brake pads off of your caliper, and you're looking at your caliper. Now, the caliper compresses to tighten down the brakes on the rotor. Now, how do you decompress or push back the caliper that you have just compressed? And that is with this tool. So you take your old used brake pads and push it up against the caliper. Now, the caliper is kind of like a clamp and it clamps down. So you want to put this back where it was, in between the two little mouth of the caliper, and tighten it. It'll eventually open up your caliper more to put on your new brake pads. Now, you have gotten new brake pads. Put your brake pads back where your old brake pads used to be. And before you do that, you should get grease in your new brake pads. Make sure to grease up the little clips that go into the brake pads and grease up the little O-ring or circle that is connected to that is on your caliper. Now, once you have done all that, go ahead and put your new brake pads on. Make sure they're touching the rotor, and then go ahead and put your caliper back on, tighten it back down, and go ahead and put your tire back on. Make sure that caliper is nice and tight, by the way. Go ahead and put your tire back on, tighten all of the lug nuts back on, and you can now drop that tire. You can now drop your car as well. So now that brake is completely replaced. Now do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Your brakes are good to go, and you are ready to get back out on the road. Another friendly reminder, go ahead and brake for the first time, because what you just did was separating your caliper, and you can have an issue where you may not brake, your brake may not work for 1 to 2 seconds. That's it.